down to this, folks. All boils down to this. We're at the semi-final stage of this year's World Cup. Who's going to go through to the final? And who's, of course, going to go to that shitty bronze medal match? We're going to take a look at that and more next. That's right, folks, back once again with a prediction video today. It's all about the semi-finals of the World Cup. Who's going to go through? Will it be Argentina, Croatia, Morocco or France? We'll take a look at all of it in a second, of course. If you're new, though, where you been? Smash your subscribe button, magnitude. All things World Cup related, Barbaros agent, of course, and domestic football related. We're going to all hear, boys, under one roof. Of course, it was the end of the road for the likes of Brazil, of course, and England. With even Portugal, Ronaldo saying ta-ta. And the Dutchies, of course, they were knocked out in the last stage, but who will go to the final? We'll take a look at it in a second. Of course, people shout about VIPs. They are the patrons, of course. You know who you are. But anyway, so here we go then, folks. It's all about this. It is the World Cup semi-finals, of course. One match away from getting through to the grand stage of world football. Who's going to go through? We'll take a little look at it in just a second, of course. So let's remind ourselves of how we got to this stage. Of course, with the groups, the Dutchies and Senegal made it through to the last 16 out of Group A, with England and USA joining them. Meanwhile, of course, still with us, it is Argentina and Poland. They got through to the knockouts, joined by France, also World Cup holders, and here back-to-back now semi-finals. They're joined over in Group F with Morocco and Croatia. We'll get to them in a minute. Group E, though, Japan and Spain upset the apple cart a little bit, knocking out the Germans, of course. But like I said, Morocco unbelievably here in the semi-finals, the first African nation to do so. But they're joined by last time's finalists as well, Croatia. We still have the possibility of a repeat of 2018's final. How mad is that? Brazil, though, of course, were here, but they're gone now, as were the Swiss, Portugal and South Korea as well. Let's remind ourselves, of course, how things are going in the old bracket. So these were the connections as they came through to the knockout stages. We had the Dutch against the Americans. We had Argentina up against Australia. We had Japan up against Croatia. Brazil against South Korea. Over on the other side, we had the French up against the Poles. We had England up against Senegal, Morocco against Spain, Portugal against the Swiss, of course. And how did it all pan out? Well, here we go. Remind ourselves, of course, the Dutch came through. They took on Argentina, who did beat the Aussies. Croatia did beat Japan. Brazil beat South Korea. And, of course, the French came through as well, as did England, Morocco, and then Portugal. So let's take a look at those quarterfinals, of course, starting with the Dutchies. 2-1 loss was my prediction on the night. Of course, it was dragged to penalties with Argentina coming out on top. 2-2 on the day, on the game, and then of course penalties was the deciding factor. Same could be said for Croatia and Brazil, of course. I went with a 2-0 win for Brazil on this one, but unfortunately they were outdone by the experience, the knowledge, that is, of course, Croatia. 1-1 on the night, penalties the deciding factor. Over on the other side, the French took care of business against England. 3-1 was my pick. It's actually 2-1 in the end. Very, very close game, and of course maybe a little bit hard done by with the English, but for me as a Scot/German, I'm smiling from ear to ear about that one. And down the bottom there, I did actually go for a Morocco penalty victory here, but they didn't even need it. They didn't even need penalties. It was a 1-0 win on the night to go through to, of course, the semi-bloody finals. Wow, indeed. Alrighty then, let's take a look at the Super Brew, of course, our very own little prediction league, and of course take a look at who did very, very well in the knockout stages. Well, Aliar did the best there, alongside Costas K with 4.5 points on the board. JSPFC and DJ Horn up there in the top 5 or 6. Where the heck am I? Did I actually get my picks in on time? There I am, 1.5. You know what? I think I actually did an absolute stonker on this one. I don't bloody know. Whatever. But what about the overall leaderboard then, shall we? Let's take a look at it. Oxley 17 running away with 61 points on the board. Music 1207's in second. He might have an unassailable lead here, but the Beast is at one spot. Myself is in 9th spot, which is not too shabby. But realistically, I'm going to need snookers, I think, if I'm going to win this one. But I did get a little bit hoodwinked with the old the banning on YouTube, so I think I may have missed a round. I don't know, did I miss a round? I may have missed a round. Anyway, regardless of all that, that's the code. I didn't want to show you the code, but anyway, that is the code. Let's remind ourselves, this is the link if you do want to get involved. Cut for WC picks, of course. We're back here now, of course, taking a look at those illustrious semi-finals. So let's jump in the deep end and have a little close look at it. Then shall we kick it all off with Argentina up against Croatia, of course, coming at you first and foremost, coming on the Tuesday, December the 13th. It's getting to that stage, guys. Now, these two sides have played each other 4 times since 1998, of course, 2 wins apiece. But this match will take place on the 13th at the Lusail Stadium with Daniel Osato, your referee, of course. Argentina managed by Lionel Scaloni, coming to to 83% form up against Croatia, managed by Zlato Dalic, who's been there, seen it, and done it, of course, picking up 4 wins and a couple of draws most recently. Like I said, they have played each other 4 times. The biggest win for Argentina was a 2-1 win. The biggest win for Croatia was a 3-0 win. They've scored 7 goals, Croatia, compared to Argentina's 5 over the course of those 4 games. Works out around about 1.25 goals a game for Argentina, 1.75 goals a game for Croatia. Of course, they did play each other last time around in the last World Cup back in Russia, but it was at the group stage, and Croatia came out top with a 3-0, a bloody win. Argentina's last win was way back in November 2014. It was a 2-1 win. It was a friendly, of course, but yes, so far so good for Argentina. Despite their opening day blip against Saudi Arabia, they've come back into this in pretty good shape, beating Mexico, beating Poland to top of the group stage in the end. That was, of course, Group C. Then they knocked out the Australians and then the Dutchies. Now, to be honest with you, they've not been that great in the knockout stages. Australia, yeah, I think their confidence took a little bit of a bump there. The Dutch dragged them to penalties, of course, and it was, I think, keeping their head in their game was the problem against the Dutch. They kind of collapsed in that game. Let's take a look at Croatia then, of course, coming at you unbeaten through Group F, just conceding the 1 goal. That 1 goal was against Canada. Drawn with, of course, fellow semi-finals Morocco, and then, of course, Croatia drawing with Belgium as well. They did beat Japan on penalties. They did beat Brazil on penalties as well. Will they beat Argentina on penalties? Well, let's take a closer look at it then. The odds for the game, 65 on is your Argentina, 4-1 is your Croatia, and 9-4 is the draw. Now, if you want to take a look at the odds to lift the trophy at the end of it, Croatia are third favourites, 50-2, with Argentina at 70-10 at the moment to lift the bloody trophy. For me on this one, though, I think I've got something in my belly here that something weird is going on in this World Cup, and I believe it's going to be Croatia coming out top with a 3-1 win. The goals have dried up a little bit for Croatia since that 4-1 smashing of Canada, but I just think they know what to do. The pressure is really on Messi and Argentina, as of course one of the juggernauts, to get to a final here and maybe make the dream possible for Lionel Messi. But I just think that's going to be the deciding factor, pressure moment. Of course, the same with England against the French, the moment when that penalty came at the end for Harry Kane. The amount of pressure is going to sway this game one way or another. Of course, I'm going to go with Croatia to go through to the final, another final, but will they be joined by the French to make it back-to-back repeat of the finals? Take a look at the next game then, shall we? It is France, it is Morocco, it is on the 14th of December, of course, plays at the Al Bayt Stadium. Of course, France managed by Didier Deschamps, coming at 67% form, winning 4 of the last 6. Against the Morocco side, unbeaten in the last 6 games, 92% form for them, managed by Walid Regragui, of course. They have played each other once, it was a 2-2 draw. We'll talk about that in a second. In fact, let's talk about it now. It was a friendly back in November 2007. I believe it was in France, but of course coming in is the French, pretty much I wouldn't say faultless, but of course pretty good resume so far, scoring goals all the way through this game, bar the game against Tunisia. So they did open up with a 4-1 win over Australia, 2-1 win over Denmark, the 1-0 loss with a second string against Tunisia, but it was a loss. A 3-1 win over Poland, and 2-1 win over England. I thought it was a wobbly performance by the French. We didn't see Mbappe, so England kind of blocked him out. Can Morocco do the same? Let's take a look at Morocco coming into this. Pretty good. Just 1 goal conceded throughout this tournament, which could be a major deciding factor. Of course, there was also concern with some teams, some players with Morocco, as in fitness and health. But anyway, they opened up with a 0-0 draw against Croatia. Let's not underestimate that result there. 2-0 win over Belgium, a 2-1 win over Canada. They conceded the goal there. Morocco 3-0 win on penalties over Spain, a 1-0 win over Portugal. They have not done this the easy way. They have done it a bloody hard way. Not only have they come through a very tricky group top, might I add, but they've also come and knocked out former winner Spain, and of course Cristiano Ronaldo's influenced Portugal, of course. So they're coming here with a decent resume, of course. But let's take a look at the odds there, shall we? France are, of course, overwhelmingly favoured here, 50-8, of course, 50-8 on to win this game. 11-4 is the draw after 90. 7-1 is, of course, the long shots. That's Morocco. But of course, the odds are showing 9-1. You get odds on Morocco lifting it, and we've got France 11-10 at the moment. They are overwhelming favourites at the moment to lift it. And of course, undoubtedly so, when you look at this bracket, you think French should get to a final anyway. Argentina really have to step it up their game to beat Croatia. But I've got something weird going on at this World Cup. I don't know what it is, and let's not rule out the 12th man of the attendees, the audience, the crowd. Of course, it's well backed for Morocco. They're going to add an extra punch to this, and I think it's going to go down to a 1-goal margin here, despite the free-scoring French with Mbappe and co. Unless they've got to kind of block him out, like England did, given limited chances, because the defence of Morocco has been monumental so far in this World Cup, conceding just the 1 goal. If they could do that and kind of squash them like they did against the Spanish, like they did against Portugal, limit their chances to very, very, very few, and take their one and only chance when they get it. And of course, they could actually become the first African nation not only to get to a semi-final, but of course go to a bloody final. That's right, I've gone with the unthinkable here, gone with the Croatia-Morocco final at this year's World Cup out in Qatar 2022. It is the Winter World Cup. Let's go for something a little bit balmy here. Let's go for the unthinkable final. I think a lot of people were going to go Argentina-France here, but I think just the way Croatia are playing, they are experienced, they've been there and they know it, they've seen it and done it, of course, up against the Argentina team that has got a lot of pressure on their shoulders, making this the last World Cup opportunity for Lionel Messi to put him into that bracket of superstar, global, monumental messiah of football, which he already is, but this will be the cherry on top. Meanwhile, on the other end of the bracket, France, back-to-back winners. Can they do it? Yes, they can do it. And of course, this does look a little bit bizarre when I look at it. But Morocco have just been so demanding, so intense. The defence has been excellent. And of course, that crowd is going to be pro-Morocco all the bloody way. So there we go, folks. There's what I think will happen in this year's World Cup semi-finals. Of course, Tuesday, Wednesday is the action. Who's going to go, of course, to compete for the final? We'll take a look at it, of course, when we come back around. But until then, guys and gals, that is pretty much all I've got for you. Be sure to check out the link right here, right now, if you want to get involved with the Prediction League. /WC Picks. Free to enter. Get your name in lights. And, of course, we'll be back for the final, of course, with predictions when they come around. But until then, guys, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the little bell. We go again, guys. We go a bloody again. Until then, subscribe, thumbs up. I'll see you soon for the next.